All right, good morning. So, former President Goodluck Jonathan has warned that without credible elections, underperforming leaders will keep clinging to power, stressing that proper polls would allow Nigerians to vote them out. Now, his remarks come as INEC faces mounting pressure to redeem its image after the controversies of 2023. We're talking about ghost voters, delayed results, questions even about transparency. So as the 2027 elections draw closer, the big question is, can INEC restore credibility, rebuild voter confidence, and truly safeguard Nigeria's democracy? My name is Chioma Kalu, and of course, this morning we're going to be having these conversations with my co-anchors Oluchi Omenka and Triumph Akimboye. They'll be joining me later, and we're going to be unpacking this topic this morning. So I want you to sit back, I want you to relax, because it's actually going to be worth your time. So I don't know if I have Oluchi online. Oluchi, are you there? Okay, just before Oluchi joins us, I'm going to tell you guys how my trip to this place this morning was and how my weekend went. Oh, yes, so starting with my weekend. My weekend was great. I wish you would put yours in the comment section, because we need to get up this week in a high energy, status. So, yes, weekend was great. I was able to do something I've never done before. I was so scared. I was very nervous. I know my friends will be laughing by now, yes, but I kind of faced my fears. And yeah, I accomplished it, and now I think you can bring deals. Don't let me tell you what that is. But yes, you can meet me after my show or send me a text. And yeah, this morning it's been raining. I hope you all have your cup of coffee. I hope you've got a cup of tea as well. So yeah. For those on the road, the traffic is not very, it's Lagos. We know how Lagos can get. But yes, there's traffic. You've got to leave your time early so you'll be able to get to your, workplaces on time. Drive safely. There's flood everywhere. So you've got to be careful. Anyway, I'm just going to go on a short break where we reflect, today on events that happened today in history. I'd like to take your time to reflect on these significant events that shaped the world. And, when we come back, we'll dive into the newspapers for the day. Don't go anywhere.
Tell us you're a Nigerian without saying a word. Energy security is one of the most pressing issues for many developing countries like Nigeria. And if there's going to be any meaningful progress, addressing our energy issues is non-negotiable.
I need to see light for my house. Make them do something.
Band A is expensive. I literally have to turn off all my appliances just to reduce costs.
We need light.
Introducing the Energy Outlook, your go-to show for everything energy. Every week, we'll bring you the latest insights, innovation, and in-depth analysis of Nigeria's energy sector. From policy discussions to regulatory insights, we'll analyze the key decisions influencing growth and sustainability in the energy sector. We'll bring you the human stories behind the headlines, giving you a personal perspective on the broader energy challenges. Join me every Friday at 6 p.m. for the Energy Outlook, your guide to the future of energy, where energy means business.
You're welcome back. What are your thoughts on these historical milestones? I'd like to hear your insights and perspectives. And now, remember, you are the main ingredients in this conversation this morning, so I'd like to hear your thoughts. Our phone lines are open. You can call us on 070-2500-7749 or 0701-4242-420. And if you're yet to subscribe to our YouTube channel, you can do that at Official Upgrade TV. Click the subscribe button, like, share, and, comment. You can also tune in on channel 145 on your Go TV, and please don't miss this conversation. Just before we go into the stories making headlines in today's newspapers, I have Triumph here with me. Triumph, how are you?
Fine. I did not have a smooth ride.
I can see that.
But I'm okay. I'm good. Aside all that, and I think these are the things that happens, on a day like this, where there is rain.
And it's a Monday.
Yes, it's a Monday. So everybody is outside, and then there's one traffic at one stop or the other, saying that they are trying to fix the road and all those things. So it just gets to me really. But I'm here, and that's all that matters.
I know. How was your weekend, though?
My weekend was great. It was short, but it was great. It was very short. I don't have much about the weekend.
2 minutes.
Yes, it was like 2 minutes. Yesterday I spent the whole hours, in the salon so that I can come here looking very, very,
posh girl.
very, very beautiful. So I had a very short day from church to salon.
Oh,
and then that was all.
But what happened on Saturday? Did you sleep?
On Saturday, I was working on Saturday. I went to work on Saturday, so it's just a lot of things.
Adulthood be lifing, right?
A lot.
All right, we'll go straight into the stories making headlines in today's newspapers, and Triumph will take us through the nation's newspapers. Triumph.
All right, so let us have the nation's newspaper. We don't have much because there's a story that is taking like a major part of the headlines.
Okay.
But let's start with the screaming headline: EFCC 13,000 convictions secured. This story is coming from page 3 of the Nation newspaper. I'm going to be coming back to talk about that. And the story that is taking the whole front page of, the Nation news, Tantita Security Services Nigeria Limited, excitement as President Tinubu commissions facilities renovated by Tantita at Sultan Bello Mosque, Kaduna. You can see the pictures of, the renovated mosque. And then we have another one here that says Otedola, which is the last one, really. Otedola, over 2 trillion naira siphoned in fraudulent fuel subsidy claims under Jonathan. Now, let me first start by talking about the EFCC coming out to say that 13,000 convictions in the past years has been secured. That means that, EFCC, they are coming out to say that, they have been able to arrest 13 people, involved in fraudulent acts and all of that. And this year alone, we've had about 4,111 people that have been arrested for fraudulent acts, which brings me to actually think about the fact that people are committing serious crime in this country. People are committing, a lot of crimes, which is also, them saying that because they're saying all this because they consider it, a great incentive for investors to actually invest in their process, the EFCC. As much as I was trying to think about it, that are we not supposed to be using the number of people that were arrested as the measure to actually, contest or, speak for the fact that you want to get investors and all of that. But unfortunately, because from the news here, they are saying that there can be no greater incentive to investors than the assurance of due process and rule of law.
That's right.
He said that the Commission's preventive role through its department at fraud risk, which monitors public fund disbursement, and he cited his work of PICNG project where $50 million in contracts were evaluated, leading to the delivery of 95% of buses and conversion kits. And then they mentioned some other milestones as regards the fact that the arrest of 792 suspected internet and cryptocurrency fraudsters in a single Lagos operation. This is a laudable one for EFCC, them coming out to say that we have been able to, pin these people down, get these people. However, I think there is still, there's still like quite the number of people that are still like out there trying to actually commit crime, because there are still a lot of people.
Of course. And also, I don't want to play the devil's advocate, but yeah, EFCC is doing great. But I mean, I have doubts about the
Honestly.
numbers, but yeah, crime is on the rise, and you see that as a result of the economy, the cost of living. I mean, there's no justification to doing bad, right? There's no justification. I mean, who you're stealing from needs what you're stealing from them, you know? So there's no justification, but while I commend the EFCC, like I said earlier, I hope there's transparency in this arrest, and I hope we're keeping to the rule, you know, law and order, everything. We're following due process. There's no favoritism. There's no, you know, we're taking up this case and we're letting this one fly, you know. Yeah, I hope everybody gets equal judgments, equal punishments. Let's not say, okay, this one was once a politician, because there's somebody in my head that I know is still walking free. And EFCC has told us that when he was governor, he did this and he did that. And yet this guy, nothing is happening to him, right? So I hope it's amongst the number you just... I hope it's amongst the number you just told me, right? Because, yeah, that's the thing. Be transparent with this and let there be equal, you know, punishments. Don't prefer one to another. You know, that office is a very important office, so you should handle it properly. All right, let's look at what we have on the Punch. I think today's newspapers...
There is a lot.
Yeah, maybe not a lot. It's just goodwill messages and all of that. But the news we have on the Punch says crude supply to domestic refineries hits 67.6 million barrels. That's really impressive. You find out in page 33. Also, Borno terrorist attack victims, you know, hospitalized in Cameroon. Why did we take them all the way?
Cameroon, that's quite far.
Okay. I mean, I'm not going to go into that. That's page 9. And then we have Dangote Refinery. Change has come to the oil sector and Nigerian economy, Otedola tells Dapman. You know, this drag.
I was going to talk about it.
This drag. I feel like these people feel like Dangote has come to take food out of your mouth. Anyway, to my story of interest. It says, that, I mean, that's like the lead story on the Punch. Ibas rejects Assembly's move to probe 6 months spending. Backstory. Ibas was the sole administrator that was brought in by the president in Rivers State, right? After the governor, his vice, and the members of the State of Assembly were suspended for 6 months. So Ibas' tenure ended on the 17th of September, and they have restored my guy, Fubara. I said my guy. They brought him back. Now, funny story, right? The House of Assembly, their state's House of Assembly, now have demanded a probe on the spendings that happened during that 6 months. Because, girl, the money is plenty. I made some findings. Now, the story said that Rivers State received at least 254.37 billion naira
in the past 6 months?
Yes, from the Federation's accounts, you know, between March and August, under the tenure of the sole administrator. Now, there's a further breakdown. It says Rivers State took home 44.66 billion naira in March, 44.42 billion in April, 42.80 billion naira in May, 42.30 in June, you know. So now, all of this, all the receiving, everything now came to over 254 billion naira. And the State House are like, okay, this is a lot of money, right?
Because what I'm even thinking about is, you know, the question of the fact that, so what major reforms actually happened in the past 6 months? Because I really want to look into that.
Exactly.
Before talking about this.
What happened, you know? So, you know, at this rate, right, I think there's a need for accountability from the sole administrator. You need to it's not rocket science. It's not, there's nothing too much about it. It's what you're supposed to do. In fact, I expected as you're leaving, there's a breakdown you give to us. We did this with this, we did this with this, we did this. You know, break it down properly. It's not enough to go to the federal allocation account and all of that. And You're collecting billions.
That's why I'm even saying that I really even want to hear the major reforms that happen.
Exactly.
And we're supposed to actually be in a state, you know, as a country where we will be accountable. I mean, before you knew that you were going to leave this place, I think that you should have started making account of the old money and the old things that you've done.
Be transparent with these things.
Because that's a lot of money, 250. I mean, I'm trying to even look up the major reforms that has happened in Rivers State, you know, in the past 6 months that Similana Ifubara has not been around. So I don't know, but let's be very, very accountable. And this is the same thing that happens. This was just something that happened, you know, in 6 months. This is the same kind of issue that we are also having with people that have spent like 4 years in power, 8 years in power.
Yeah.
Be accountable.
No accountability.
No accountability. I think that's one of our major problems, you know, as a country.
Another problem Nigeria has is the issue of continuity, right? So when one government is done, whatever he left halfway, that's the end of it. The next person comes and starts his own. So assuming, let's say Ibas gives an account of these monies, right? And then maybe we find out that there's some that is not completed yet. Fubara can pick it up. Do you understand? So, but now if you don't break these things down for us, what? And then there was news flying around, you know, the day he was supposed to leave office, that he was actually, I don't know how credible that story is. I just saw it, so I'm not endorsing it as credible. But I saw it in different sources, and they said, oh, he's trying to, you know, quietly leave because he hasn't paid his aides. So those guys were ready to scatter everywhere. Oh, God, you cannot do that thing.
Brought up this question.
You know, that's before they even brought this up, right? So that he wanted to just leave quietly, and the aides were not having it, right? I don't know how credible that is, but if that is the case, that's really sad. Okay, that's really sad. We can't keep living like this.
You know, on the topic of continuity that you just spoke about, I mean, one thing that I have witnessed my whole life is seeing a government hand over from one government to another, and then you don't continue
of course.
with...
No, they never do.
They just leave it that way. And now, if you're saying that 254 billion is out there, you're not yet done spending it, you're not making accounts. And this River State is one of our major states,
that's our
oil-rich states. And don't forget that, you know, a part of the federal government allocation that is going to that state because of the fact that they are oil revenue producing states. Now, if a state like that cannot be clear with accountability, cannot be clear about this is what has been done, this is what still needs to be done, this is what we should continue with. So what is the essence of the, you know, the old Fubara having to even go on the 6-month thing in the first place?
No, he came to put law and order in place.
And to just repeat again that I love his, you know, his dramatic entrance.
You know, I don't know why we're talking about River State this morning. But you see, the first day, and Rivers people know how to show up and show out. Oh my goodness, those guys are good. So the first day, everybody were, you know, now that also shows that they like their governor.
Honestly.
Oh, they really love the guy. But he didn't show up in the first day.
He did not show up. They did not see him. I mean, I was looking at, you know, from different, one news source to another, different news representative, you know, reporters were out there, you know, at the airport, everything. They did not see this man. This man did not show up.
You know, but then you would think maybe they too, it's going to deter them. They showed up again. And Baba came eventually, and it was beautiful to see that at least they still have trust in this guy, regardless of whatever has transpired, right? Anyway, I mean, that's... I think I like the way my morning just opened up. Anyway, that's the news for today. I think the other newspaper has just the exact same thing. But anyway, that's all we have on the news making headlines today. We're going to go on a short break. And when we come back, we dive straight into topic of discussion for this morning. Don't go away. welcome back. If you're just joining the conversation this morning, we're talking about INEC and, the credibility test, looking into 2027 and trying to see what's going to be different, in the 2027 elections. Now, you see, the credibility of Nigeria's elections remains a burning issue. Former President Goodluck Jonathan has reminded us that only proper, transparent polls can give citizens the power to remove underperforming leaders. But with that controversy, right, that we saw in 2023 elections, ranging from ghost voters to delayed results, judicial disputes, I think some of those issues are still in court. Right? Now, with all of these things, many Nigerians are asking, if INEC, right, can INEC really rise to the challenge of 2027? So this morning, right, we want to put that question forward. What must change for our elections to be trusted? And how can INEC regain public confidence? Right? I have a guest alongside my co-anchor who's going to dissect this with me. So I have Tunji Abdul Hamid Esquire. He's a legal practitioner and a public affairs commentator. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you for being here. All right. So I'm glad you're a public affairs commentator because we have to really talk about this. Since 7 is tomorrow, I don't know if we're looking at it like it's too far. It's really not far. So now, former President Jonathan, he said that proper elections would allow voters, right, to vote out underperforming leaders. From your perspective, sir, as someone in the legal space, how far has Nigeria really come in achieving that? Did you hear me, sir?
Yeah, we still have a long way to go in that regard, as far as I'm concerned.
Okay.
Yes, I said we still have a long way to go as regards that particular aspect. We have a long way to go in the sense that we don't, as it is today, the people at the aim of affair have been influenced. When I say aim of affair here, I'm talking about the INEC authority, I'm talking about the presidency, judiciary, National Assembly. There are a lot of influence on those who control these electoral activities. The way and manner those who are appointed is also a factor in that regard. We have people who are loyal to a particular party or to a particular individual being made members of the INEC who are to conduct election, contrary to what the law says. The law is clear as to who to be appointed as an INEC chairman or a rep member. Section 153 and Section 154 of the Constitution is very clear in that regard. But what do we see in our society here? We see a situation whereby even people who are card-carrying member of a party who are loyalists or supporter of a political party will be made members of the INEC or INEC representative or whatever. Some of them were even we have held a position in that government. They will tell us he has resigned, so he's no longer a card-carrying member, so therefore he's qualified. How can somebody who has been a member of a party will not be partial? How will he not be? How can somebody who have sympathy for somebody or who have a sympathy for a particular person will not be? And again, even where we have people with integrity in position of authority, our system does not allow that person to exercise his power. Because we have a situation whereby the Nigerian system will see the president who makes that appointment as the alpha and omega. And whatever he appoints me, I must be loyal to him rather than the loyalty to the country.
Yeah.
So what we see in this country is loyalty to the president, not loyalty to the That's why you see members of the National Assembly who are supposed to hold people to account singing our mandate at the National Assembly rather than sing the national anthem or even the refrain from that aspect. So what I'm saying is that the confidence in our system, in our electoral system, will only be restored if we have people who can hold their own, who can stand on their ground and say, look, I have a name to protect. But it appears in Nigeria, once they get the appointment, even people who see that to have that kind of integrity, once they are given that appointment, they become something else. They dance to the tune of those in authority, and they change suddenly. Maybe probably they are being influenced, probably they are being threatened, probably they are something. I don't know. But I see and that's why I'm worried that no matter anyone you want to put, no matter how honest you think that person is, once you get into that appointment or into that field, something has changed. When the governors who are, because I'm talking about even when we talk about appointment, because people are suggesting that we should take away the power of appointment of an INEC chairman or INEC member from the president and give it to other people.
I agree.
I'm saying that I'm saying that people are saying so. Yeah. I don't believe that that will also solve the problem. That may not solve it. You know why? We have governors who are elected, who are not appointed by the governors, by the president. They put their loyalty on the president, and they tend to agree to do whatever the president wants them to do, whether in line with law. We have members of the National Assembly who are not appointed by the president. But whenever the president decides anything from them, they say they must give it to him because he's the president. So what will now happen? So that's why I say I have my worry whether or not we can even go out of this problem. We don't have a system that checks people. We don't have a system that works. Because people complain about our law too, that we need to rejig our law. Yes, I agree that we need to change a certain part of the law to make them more clearer. But the problem is not about the law itself. It's about the people entrusted to enforce the law. People given the responsibility to guide the law. And that's what you see in the last election. The law is clear. The law gave INEC the power to make guidelines and regulations. And INEC made those guidelines and regulations. And in the middle of the game, INEC changed. The guy did not follow his guideline. And that was confirmed by the Supreme Court to say they have the right to change, which for me, I disagree. When a guideline that is made in line with the Constitution, that is what we call, if you're a student of government, in secondary school, even if you're not a lawyer, you know what we call delegated legislation, our subsidiary legislation. A guideline that is made by INEC in line with the provision of the Constitution is itself a law, and it must be binding. So, but the Supreme Court said no, they have the right to whether follow or not to follow. So who am I to say no now? They will follow that. So that is the way we have the problem. The problem is enforcement and implementation of our law. Those areas are also have to be looked into. Except we have those areas covered, we may not be able to get anything right. It may discourage more people from participating. But me, I don't encourage people to be discouraged because the politicians, they love it when people stay away from the system. That will give them the opportunity to do whatever they want to do. They were able to perpetrate whatever they are perpetrating today because few people are participating and more people are not participating. So participation in it is an issue. The issue of I know people don't have trust in the system, but if you don't have trust in the system, staying away from it will not be the solution. You have to confront it and say, look, we must exercise our rights, whether or not it can, we'll see.
Let's quickly look at something that you can, just sum up together. INEC is coming out to say that we should not say that we are going to lose trust in them. However, it's not like that for Nigerians because Nigerians are fast losing trust in these people. Now, they came out to talk about the fact that because people mentioned that even the digital systems that they set in place, you have the beavers and then the other one, and then they're coming out, and that's one, I remember that, in 2023, all these ones, they were experiencing glitches and all of that. If we think about, the good picture of it, we know that, okay, these things are going to actually help to make the voting process, the election process, much more effective, seamless, very easy. However, we are seeing that even with this, there is so much that is going on because sometimes this thing, they can't even account for it. And they are coming out to say that, oh, we shouldn't blame them, but we should rather blame the fact that maybe that particular system is not working. Maybe they are not able to, at that point in time, they were talking about things like system failure, system this, system that. But we should not also forget that these are people's, hopes, people's, what people are hoping for, their elections, their votes. They are trying to vote someone into power. So do you think that, these digital things that they've put in place, that it is still, rather than, it helping us to be trust in INEC, we are rather saying, the other side of it. Do you think that these digital technologies that they've put in place is actually going to help us 2027 coming?
Yeah, ordinarily, it should help us. Even before now, it should help us. But what we are seeing in our own system is it's not helping us. It's not helping us not because the system, the digital system is not good. It's not helping us because of what I said earlier on. Human factor. Those who are given the opportunity to enforce it and to implement it are the one making it. Yeah, this digital system we are talking about is computer. It's what you put into it that will give to you. Garbage in, garbage out. So if the people who are to operate it are compromised, there is nothing you can do in that regard. So that's why I said we need to have people of integrity and people who will be able to stand up and say, look, I want to do the right thing. That's the only thing you can get. If you like, go and bring whatever system, no matter how proofread, how quality that digital system is. If those in authority are not ready to follow it, you will see fail. And you can imagine the excuse given in the last election. How can you have a system running three programs at the same time, and you now say two were successful? There was no glitch on one, and one was cut off because of glitch. So it shows that something happened, because we have the National Assembly election, House of Rep, Senate, and the presidency on the same day. There was nothing happened to the system regarding House of Rep and Senate, but the presidency, something happened, and they were being operated on the same system. Right. So what do you? So human factor is the problem we're having. Human factor, people. How do we get people of integrity? How do we people that will stand and say, look, I don't mind losing my job. I want to do the right thing. But what we see in Nigeria is that we see people want to take position. They do everything to retain that job, including compromise. Just like what happened in River State, when people will come and say, Fubara should have agreed with his master. He should have agreed. Agreeing says that what they are talking about is that he should have compromised. And then allow them to take whatever they will take. So because they see it as his personal wala. So what we'll see here is that when you are in a position, you want to do whatever it takes to allow you to make you retain your position, including compromise. And that's what we are seeing today. And that's why I said, no matter what we put in place, as long as we have people who are not ready to play by the rules, who are not ready to say, look, I have a name, I have to protect it, we have to continue to have this lack of confidence. The confidence they are talking about here is not for INEC to say it by word of mouth. It's by action.
That's right.
It's by us seeing what they have done. The last election that we have seen, even the off-circle election, they didn't bring back the confidence in us. They didn't bring back the confidence in us. They didn't do what some people expected. There are some complaints as well. So as long as that is happening, their confidence will be eroded. But like I said, sometimes it's a deliberate attempt to frustrate you people from running away from it, so that they'll be able to achieve their objectives. So I will urge Nigerians not to be discouraged by that lack of confidence. Let them put more pressure on them, put more effort, participate in the process, so that we'll be able to get better results. If you stay away from it and say, because we don't have confidence, then the politicians are happy. They are happy. They are enjoying the manipulation because they're not participating.
Okay, Barrister. Let's move away. Let's move towards the judiciary for a second, right? You know, many people have argued that credibility of elections doesn't just end with INEC, of course, but it ends with the court. Okay, so what do you think? How do you think the judiciary has either strengthened or weakened, you know, these electoral processes in the recent years?
Like I said earlier on, you know, I've talked about the role of judiciary in terms of interpreting the provision of our law. I still have my disagreement with some of the positions with due respect. They are not helping our. If I say so, to me, I'm not satisfied with the way and manner things are being done. It appears they are not firm in their decision. You can see what happened in River State. You can see how switch they were able to, when the issue of whether those assembly members have left or not, or this and that were in court. You can see how switch they were in taking decision in those matters. But the issue of suspension of Subara, you can see the matter is still pending. Some of the interpretation of the decision of the court regarding electoral at the last election, for example, the position of the Supreme Court to the fact that if you are not a member of a party, if you are not a candidate, or that only those who participated in primary of the party can challenge the qualification of a candidate of another party. For me, my interpretation of that law or that portion of the law is not what the Supreme Court said, because they are talking about the primary, not the main election. If the primary is conducted and you did not participate, yes, you may not be able to challenge based on our law. But if main election has been conducted, and the other party raise the issue, it should have the authority to challenge it. But the Supreme Court said no. That particular law, the interpretation of concern, applies only to primary of the parties, not to general election. But they adopt it and take it to general election. The issue of Abuja and like a state, those debates, what I'm trying to say is that sometimes the decision of the court, are conflicting and making it look like we don't even know where we stand. Sometimes it's unfortunate that I'm saying this. I don't have that too much confidence that they are doing well in terms of helping our. No, I'm saying this at my own detriment, at my peril.
I know that,
because these are some of the issues. Some people will be prevented from being given the opportunity of becoming this or becoming that. They will look at your statement before now. They say, yeah, this man is always criticizing us. So let's do that. If you apply for anything, they will say no. So, but I don't care. I don't care about that. I say my mind.
I'm glad you take that stance, because, like you rightly said, we need people who would want to protect, who are more interested in protecting their names rather than whatever handouts you're going to be getting. Anyway, we're going to go on a short break, and when we come back, we'll continue the conversation. Don't go anywhere. Right, welcome back. We're still talking about the credibility of INEC with 2027 elections in view. And we have Barrister Tunji with us, trying to dissect the whole conversation. So, Barrister, please, are you still with us? Barrister Tunji?
I am with you. I'm with you.
Oh, beautiful. All right.
Okay. So, Barrister, so there is something that I want us, away from everything that we have been discussing, is the issue of ghost voters. I mean, for a very long time now, since I've, gotten into this world and then I've known anything about voting, if there is one particular thing that is really, really prominent, is this thing called, ghost voting. They also call it piano voting, right? And we always have it. We always have it. Sometimes it feels like maybe it is even beyond the power of the INEC, because this particular ghost voting happens like every year. We had it in 2023. We had it in the election before 2023. And 2027 is right before us again, where people, I was looking at, your report, in a particular location where that poll, the kind of votes that you're not supposed to even get a number.
You get it.
You just see what kind of number, and then they're coming up with 20,000, 30,000.
Right.
And then you're wondering that how many people are even in this community that you just go inside one community, far, and then you just bring up something. And then I'm wondering that how did you come about this? So we've been having this issue of ghost voting for way too long. And I think that in 2027, this is something that must really stop. But who should we now hold responsible? I mean, INEC is saying we should trust them. The INEC is saying we should trust them. The people that want to get into power are saying we should trust them. But who are we to even point fingers to? And how do we, unpick this thing? Because if INEC that is supposed to be an independent body, if they are not being independent about their affairs, so who exactly are we supposed to face as regards issues like this that keeps coming up every time?
There is no other person to blame apart from INEC in this regard. The major primary body to blame is INEC because they have the responsibility of conducting an election. So if there's anything that's wrong in the election, it should be their fault. It should be attributed to them. If you have glitches in anywhere, it's INEC that you blame. You don't blame those who built the system. You blame the INEC because they gave it to them. If you blame a voter register that is not complete, or people who are not registered, who you call ghost voters, who are voting, it should be INEC because by our law, before you can vote, you can be allowed to vote. You must be accredited, and it means that your name must be on the registered book, and you must have valid card for you to vote. So and they must, when they use their beavers or whatever, they must confirm that you're actually the person. So if that is complied with, how will you get a ghost worker? So if there's no compromise from the INEC officers or INEC people, that will not happen. So that's why I say the primary blame will go to the INEC, and the secondary blame will go to the politicians and Nigerians. We also connive with them, we support it, and then we'll compromise in that regard as well. And we also blame our law. Our law is also another factor, because our law is a factor because the way our law is structured today is going to be it will be very easy for needle to enter the eyes of the camel than for a petition to challenge an election and win. Because of the responsibility it placed on his head, and because they know that responsibility is enormous and may be difficult to prove, they do whatever they like and say go to court, knowing that you will not be able to get those things challenged or done. And most times you can see people, when those decisions are taken in court, it's not about the proper thing that happened at the election. It's about how you present your case. How you do not present your case, not about actually. And when the court declare that somebody is a winner, and the people come and say my mandate has been confirmed, they've confirmed the mandate given to me by the people alive. Because most times court don't determine whether or not you actually won the election. What they look at is whether or not what the issue is about your presentation before the court. Those who bring the case before the court, whether they comply with what the law says, or whether they are able to do what's required of them by law. In a situation whereby the law requires a person who complains of irregularity, for example, in 1,000 polling units, the law requires you to bring at least 1,000 witnesses to come and testify before you, and within a period of 60 days, 180 days, or how many days? Is that possible? And when you are when you are not able to do that, they will say you are afraid that you are not able to bring evidence to support your case. So they know, the politicians know all this. They play on it and say, look, just take it, grab it, run away with it, and then let them go to court and challenge it and bring the evidence to support it. Okay. So as long as our laws place that responsibility on the petitioner and not on the INEC, the body should be on the INEC who conduct election to come and establish that he actually did the right thing. So if he's able to establish that by
yes, Barrister. So if we are actually saying that we should hold INEC responsible, if we're saying that, okay, we should face INEC, so who are the people that are going to, punish INEC? Because I am very interested in the person that I am going to face, exactly. Or what body, people are more interested in, okay, who are we now supposed to talk to when we see that, INEC are not being transparent with whatever it is that they are supposed to do to get done?
Yeah, it's a very hard question to answer because you see, INEC, even though it's a body and they are individual, they will say they've done their best in line with what they think is right. Those who are supposed to take action against them, investigate them, and see if there's any culpability on their part, those in government, and they are the ones that have been favored. So how do you expect them to do anything? Because for you to hold anybody responsible for committing any crime or for doing anything wrong, you must have evidence, and there are people. And when you have the evidence, and for you to get that evidence, that means you must do thorough investigation. So if nothing is done in that regard, you cannot hold anybody. When I say hold responsible here, I'm talking about assigning blames.
Yeah.
When you want to blame you blame INEC. That's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about if you are. We can also work at the civil society, Nigerians can also raise up their voices and they protest and do a lot of asking of questions and raise issues. If that is done, but what we see in our country is that once election is conducted and somebody has been declared, people will tell you, let's just leave it. Let's just work against the next election. Let's move on. Let's move forward. Let's leave it. That is what we see. Unless some of people even give excuses and say, hey, after all, they are all human beings. They are prone to mistakes. So my saying blame hold out INEC responsible here means that the primary person to be blamed for any irregularity in an election or anything should be INEC, not the political party. Not expecting the political party to come and establish that INEC did not do the right thing. It's for the INEC to come and show that I have done the right thing. But our law today places that burden on the petitioner, which makes it more difficult for him to even establish.
All right, Barrister. I mean, it's really sad that an independent, a supposed independent body still has the president appointing the person that would oversee the commission. It's still sad that President Tinubu had to also, okay, maybe not President Tinubu, any president at all shouldn't have that jurisdiction to appoint a chairman for that commission because the word is independent. Okay, so like you rightly said, Barrister, the person would, it's just like an unwritten law, right? Your loyalty now belongs to the person that brought you into power, right? Because, I mean, that's where the godfatherism thing springs up. But anyway, thank you, Barrister. That's all the time we have this morning. Thank you for joining us for this conversation. We hope to call you back next time, sir.
The law will give it to the president. Even those who are not appointed by the president, were they not doing the same thing? Are they not paying loyalty to the president?
Barrister,
so that's why I say it's unfortunate.
Barrister,
yes,
thank you so much. That's all the time we have this morning. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So you see, as Goodluck Jonathan reminded us, credible elections are the lifeblood of democracy. And, without them, citizens lose the power to hold leaders accountable and underperformance goes unpunished. INEC now faces a crucial test ahead of 2027, which is, your credibility. And yes, technology can help. We have Beavers, we have IREV, and, to note the amount of money they pumped into those, let's not talk about it. You see, without transparency, accountability, integrity, trust will just remain broken, and Nigerians deserve proof that their votes actually count, because only then can democracy truly, truly thrive. Anyway, do ensure you subscribe to our YouTube channel at Official Upgrade TV. You can interact with us further, drop a comment, and most importantly, follow all our social media engagements. And remember to like, share, comment, and invite your friends and family to watch us and follow us. Have a wonderful day ahead. Have a great week, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.